I remember meeting Brian, Billy Baxter. It was actually Billy first. Billy came to watch a game I was playing in. He came to actually watch some of the opponents. I think it was St Brendan's from Cabra, and I had a good game. And Billy approached me after the game, asked me would I be interested in coming down to St Pat's. Wasn't really too keen. Just didn't really have an appetite for the game as such to play at that level at that time. So he got Brian to call me, and Brian cajoled me into coming down with Robbie Gaffney at the time. Robbie was a player down here, and Robbie would have been a player who I would have admired playing for Rovers, and he lived in the locality as well. So after a couple of phone calls, with Brian, I decided to come down and give it a crack. Not at that time, because I had kind of lost interest in the game, maybe in the late teens, and it was never something. When I was younger, obviously, I would have had dreams of playing as a professional footballer. But as I said, I kind of fell out of love with football in my late teens, and I had no real interest other than just playing recreationally. But as things turned out, as I said, with Billy, chance meeting that he came to the game, and went on from there. Well, I think once I came down here for pre-season training, and seeing the level of work that went in, and a great bunch of players, a real family kind of club as it's always been, in my opinion. That kind of comradeship that players had, and it wasn't long before I was really back in the thick of it and loving the game again and wanting to do as well as I could. I think we played out of Harold's Cross at that time. The stadium here was being redeveloped, and I know we were plodding along in the league that year, and we were always up around the top three, and I know Derry were up there as well. I think Shells were up there too, and it came. I think there were about 6 games to go, and it was really close, and there was a massive game up in the Brandywell, and we were lucky enough to win. I was fortunate enough to get the winning goal, and we won that game 1-0. And I think that was the point then in the season where we thought, we have a real good chance of winning the league here. I think we might close the gap on Derry to a point or two at that stage, and I think we won all the rest of our games, and they lost a couple of games. I lost a game anyway, and it's a fantastic achievement. I remember at the time, you said the club hadn't won the league in such a long period, and we wouldn't have been really fancied. We probably were an unfashionable team at that time, maybe, but we were very well organised under Brian, and late Noel O'Reilly as well, and Paul Nugent was there as well as part of the staff. So it was a really good team we had, and we all really gelled together, played really well for each other, and it was great times back then. Yeah, I mean, we didn't have strength and conditioning coaches. We probably didn't have the diet and nutrition advice that players have now, but that was across the board, so there wasn't really anybody at an advantage. So it was a level playing field for all players at that time. But certainly nowadays, you can have massive advantages if you look after yourself properly and you train properly and get the proper rest. There's so much more available for players now than when I was playing. Big time, yeah. I can remember one of the seasons where, if we won away from home, or if we didn't lose away from home, we'd have a bit of a shindig on the way home on the bus, and it was kind of a thing that we didn't want to lose away from home. I think we went through the whole season unbeaten. I think it was one of the other years we won the league. And I know we'd great crack on the way home on the bus, but we were really close, really good friends. Lots of friends from back in them days, still friends now. So it was kind of different. You were more friends than just teammates back in them days. You always want to improve, I think, as a player, and the club had gone a little bit stale here, I think, and there were some issues, financial issues. There was never any issues with payment or anything like that. I just think the club was going through a bad patch, and I'd had lots of offers to leave prior to eventually going to Shamrock Rovers, and I wanted to stay loyal to the club, but it came to a stage where I just didn't see a future here for me at that stage, and I signed for Shamrock Rovers, and I think it was in 1993. I think it was just a sign of the way the club was at that time. It was really stable, really good structures in place. There was a great culture within the club here, and an identity with the club, with the fans as well. I mean, the stadium would be packed here. There'd be 8,000-9,000 people. I remember I was injured one time. I couldn't get a seat in the stand. That's how busy the place used to be, and it was just a real good feeling around the place, and it was like you were never going to lose. It just had that kind of instilled in us, and a lot of that would go down. I would think to Pat Dolan, that he brought this real family feeling to the club, and the badge, and Ninarka Curla Kayla, and it was just relentless. It was just like a machine here at that time, and it was just like we were never going to lose. Obviously we did lose games, but we just had an air of confidence about us, and we worked really, really hard, and we had a good structure within the team. It was a mentality as well. It was a professionalism, like not only in regard to your fitness, but also professional mentality, that everything we tried to do as as professional as possible. He would have been the first manager, I think, to send us to a gym, Total Fitness up in Blanchardstown. I think it was unheard of at that stage for League of Ireland players to be going to a gym. But Pat put those things in place, and we probably trained a little bit more. He would have been advising us on our diet and nutrition. Would have had psychologists in. So lots of things that happened around that era to really push us on, I believe, as a club and as players. It's obviously brilliant, to get those individual accolades. But I've always said, and I always will say, like it's a team game, and without your teammates, you win nothing. Individual or collectively, you win nothing without your teammates' support. And it was great for me. I was really in really good condition, physical condition. Them times, really confident. I was at a good age as well, I suppose. I think I was probably 30 at that time. Lots of experience in the game. So, yeah, it's something I can look back on and really be proud of. I don't know how much there was really into that. I think, I was probably coming toward the end of my career, and the body was starting to thicken a little bit. And I think it was Pat who used one of his tactics to try and get me to lose a few pounds. He said, look, Weight Watchers would like it to be a spokesman for them. So it was more a little bit of a game, I think, really, than anything else. But I did end up on the cover of a Weight Watchers supplement in the RTE Guide back in the day. So I don't know if it's still knocking around. I hope it's not anyway. Yeah, I mean, a medal is a material thing, and the history books will go down and say Shells won the league, and rightfully so. If there was punishment dished out for an administrative error, that's part and parcel, and the rules are there. But from my point of view, and I know from the players' point of view that year, and I'll still say, we won the league. We accumulated the larger number of points in the pitch than any other team, so we won the league, and it was probably the best season we had. I think it was the best team we had. Probably my best season personally, although I may have won a lot of accolades the previous year. But that was a season where we were really, really good. I don't think we lost too many games that season, and we were really confident. And yeah, it's down in the history books as a league that was won by Shelbourne. But I said medals don't mean a huge amount to me. It's the memories and the satisfaction of being the best is really what carries you through. The problem we had, I think, back then was we weren't as fit as the teams we played against, definitely. You look at Dundalk, Cork City now, teams playing now, and in Europe they can match the opponents quite comfortably. In the physical stakes, we weren't in really good condition physically, and I think I was told, I can remember playing games and you could match the opponents maybe for an hour and then you were out on your feet, just flat out. I can remember playing against Celtic and they probably had about 80% possession and you're just chasing shadows for most of the game, but we stuck at it, and we probably made up in heart for what we lacked in physical fitness, and we'd some good results in Europe around that time. Probably here we played, I think it was Ghent. Now we lost. I think we won the game here 3-1 maybe. We lost away from home 2-0 and nobody gave us a chance, and we played here. It was a magnificent night here, and I can remember we came very, very close. I think that was the second leg. We beat a team from Croatia in the first round of that. I think it was the same year we beat a team called Rijeka out in Croatia. We lost 3-2 out there and we won 1-0 here. Then I think it was the next round we played Ghent, lost 2-0 away, and I think we won 3-1 here. So those two games, obviously the Celtic experience was a great experience, but I think the game against Ghent here was one of the most memorable for me. Yeah, very surprised at that, and I missed a lot of games here as well. So I know with a large number of years here, but I had a fair few injuries throughout the first spell I was here, and certainly through the second spell as well. Surprised at that stat, but it makes me feel very proud. Like, it's a great club. I love the club here. It's part of my life, really. It was part of my life for a massive number of years. So to be the player who's played the most games at this stage it's a great honour. Playing wise here, we played Cork, I think it was 98-99, and 3 or 4 games to go in the season, and it was a must-win game for both of us, I think. And down the far goal, Trevor Malloy, I think he kept one out with his hand from a corner kick, and they were going mad at the ref, and we broke up this end, and we got a corner up this end, and ball was played in to the back post. Martin Riley knocked it back across, and I was just on hand to nod it in, and we won the game 1-0. And we won the league then that year. That match is one of the best memories for me here. The place again was jammed to the rafters, and it was a brilliant atmosphere. I think it was live on the TV, and it was a massive win for us that time. Yeah, I mean he was brought up really, in around the time when I was playing regularly. He was regularly at games, and he loved the game himself, and he's gone on now to do okay for himself too in the game. So delighted for him, and long may he continue for him. As I said, like it was a real family club. We went away on holidays together with other players. Regularly every year. There'd be 7, 8 of the players, wives, kids, all gone away on holidays. I know Evan done flower boy, whatever you call it, flower boy, whatever, page boy for Steve McGuinness at his wedding. So we were really close. It was a really close group of players, and the wives were all friends as well. And Christmas nights out, and we'd still keep in touch with a lot of the players now, meet up regularly. So had a massive influence on my life, the club has had. And same too with Evan, I suppose. He's not played here, but it's football, the club. He grew up, in the stadium here every week watching me play. So it's had a massive influence. Realistically, I'm probably looking, for me, early 30s, probably around the turn of the 2000s, when I went into maybe after the 2001 season. I started to notice, you couldn't, the fellas that you were running past were now running past you, and couldn't keep up with the game, and getting little niggly injuries and taking longer to recover. You just started to realise that time is catching up. And I know there was a game here, it was a massive game, cup game, played Bohemians in the cup. I think it was a semi-final, quarter-final replay, and it went to extra time, and we were down the far end, and I went up for a header and landed, and both calves and hamstrings went into cramp. And I ended up sitting on the pitch for about, it felt like half an hour. It was probably about a minute and a half before the ball went out of play. So that was really a sign for me then. I know it was extra time and everything, but the body was starting to slow down then. Yeah, I was lucky enough, as I said, that I was given the opportunity to work with the under-21s at the time. It's great experience when I look back now. And I thought I knew everything, and I knew nothing, and I still don't know everything. And so I was learning, but massive opportunity at that stage to get involved with the 21s, and be grateful to the club at the time to give me that opportunity. Yeah, it does be a little bit strange sitting in the stand and watching games. You're not involved. I was always involved, whether it be as a player or as I said, on a 21 manager. Now you come back down, you still have an association with the club, because that'll never go, but you're not directly involved. So it does be a little bit strange sitting up there, and you're watching the 15s play or the 17s, and you can't affect anything. It's a little bit weird at times, but still enjoy watching football, no matter who's playing or what role I'm there, in what capacity. I just love watching the game. Extremely enjoyable, very memorable. It's been a massive influence on me, obviously in my sporting life, but also in my personal life. Learned a lot of values down here from different managers. A lot of principles as well, and that kind of togetherness and relentlessness as a player and as an individual, and it's helped me in my coaching capacity as well as a manager.